Hello everyone and welcome back to another Dota 2 Advanced Guide. Today we'll be covering the all-important topic of itemization, or which items to buy when. Now I've been studying a lot of replays, guides, and pro players to bring you a large collection of itemization guidelines to improve your play. The benefits of itemizing correctly are massive. Building the right items mean you farm faster, fight better, die less, and win more. So without further ado, let's get started. The first step to itemization is figuring out what you want to buy before the game starts. What's your role? Support, carry, mid, offlane? You have to ask yourself, what do you need? Do you need to get XP, gold, a secure lane, free farm? Answering these questions will play a huge part in what items you decide to buy. Whoa, look at that, that's the most annoying hero in the game, and I'll be laning against him. Should I bring extra regen, a stout shield, a ward? How am I going to deal with him? There are a bunch of different answers to that question. If you counter him innately in lane, you can go aggressive and try to zone him. Maybe not so much countering going on there, so you bring some sustain. Maybe no countering at all, so you bring 2 stout shields and try to soak up XP to zone him later. Next, what items can you afford? You can afford 3 sets of tangos. It doesn't mean you should get them. Why? Well, there are simply other items in the game that provide more value, like Stout Shield with their spell block, Null Talisman or Wraith Band for stats, Iron Branch can be placed to double your tangos while also providing early regen. What do you need to start with and what can you buy later? Buying items in the base to complete in the side shop sounds great, but it's useless if you can't reach it early. Will you have access to the courier often? Or will you need it? If you don't have access to the courier, try bringing more regen than normal, and if you will have it often enough, try getting away with less regen and more stats. What items synergize with my teammates? If your teammates have physical damage early, try for a Blightstone. Can your team get a kill if the enemy's slower? Go for Orb of Venom. How about if you were faster? Then you need Windlace. Sometimes a combination of these items will secure you kills, sometimes you can get them all on your own. Finally, ask yourself, what items help me secure lane? Wards. Do I need them in my lane or should they go elsewhere? Maybe I should get some defensive wards for when they try to gank me. Maybe I should get some aggressive wards for when we zone them. How much time will it take you to secure lane? If it's a lot, that means you might need a lot of regen for health and mana, and if you don't have access to the courier, you might want to bring more than originally planned. Will you be able to deal with rotations? Does this change if you need sentries, fairy fires, more or less regen? Finally, will you need to build into bigger early items? Should I start with a Wraith Band because I won't get courier before 3 minutes and I know I need an Aquila? How about a Null Talisman because I plan to build Veil? Whatever you decide to go with for your items, make sure that they can sustain you, help you zone, possibly give you kill potential, and ultimately secure your lane, giving you more farm and a better start. Now that we've gone over the strategy phase, it's time to get into the game and start implementing. The first question you have to ask yourself about the early game is, do I have to make any adjustments to my plan? Oh look, they're running Earthshaker offlane, now I need more regen. Maybe you need sentries, bottle, a second null, or wand. It's your call, just be flexible in your item choices so that you don't build health against a free lane or damage against an unkillable dual lane. Now that you've decided that, it's time to figure out what items you're going to build for the rest of the game. The items to fill your role. First things first. Initially, are you going to build fighting or farming items? Does your role even allow it? Wow, look, I need to be the playmaker this game. I'll go for a Blink Dagger first instead of a Hood. I really need to build Treads before Battle Fury, else I'm just gonna die. Most of the time, farming items can be used as fighting items and vice versa. Mask of Madness gives you farm potential and lets you fight. So think about what you need to survive, then to farm or fight, whichever your game allows. It's also important we begin with the end in mind. Can you take this game late, or is it absolutely necessary you end fast? Most of the time, even if they have a late game carry, you can still take it late. You just have to plan for it. If you want to go late, try for farming items that transition into fighting items, which will help you buy big items. If it's absolutely imperative you end fast, get playmaking items. You have to move quick, so you make sure your time counts. Blink, Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, Smoke, and Wards are your friend. Punish greedy lineups with aggressive items that help you take fights early. But Enderwhovian, my lineup is greedy too, but the enemy still has better late game. If you're in it for the long haul and you aren't in it, you have to play with what you're dealt. Early on, make a conscious decision to buy items that help you farm fast and get lots of it. Big items that counter their lineup win these greed versus greed games, so you have to get them up quick. As a side note, it's also important to mention that most of the time, if you're carry, just push, take early towers, because so many carry players don't realize that you'll actually get more farming space and more items online faster if you build fighting items that help you push first before you go AFK farm in the jungle for 90 minutes. But all this leads to a real important question. Should you get Midas? Well, first thing about Midas is, can you afford it? If you're a Crystal Maiden buying all the wards, 12 couriers, and constantly rotating to protect allies, maybe Midas isn't your best interest. Building something to synergize with your allies instead of delaying an underwhelming power spike is better off. Many times a power spike that's delayed because you bought Midas is useless in a late game where an alchemist can one-shot you. Another question is, can the enemy end fast? If they notice something like a Midas on an anti-mage, they will start pushing, but if you know you can outlast them, go for it. Can you farm it without dying? This is a real important one because dying pre-Midas can be detrimental to your timings, and you should only consider it on like an Invoker or Arc Warden or in a super passive game. Midas or no Midas, the next step of the early game is to think about what order you need to build these items. Do I get Treads or Mask of Madness first? Ring of Health or Tranquils? Well, to answer these questions, you need to weigh the strength of the enemy lineup versus your survivability early on. If Treads help you to stay alive or kill, get them. Maybe you're just up against a lot of right clickers, so you get Ring instead. Just make sure you can survive, then fulfill your early game objective, be it kills, towers, map control, or farm. As a carry, a good way to determine what to build is to ask yourself what maximizes my net worth. You might be surprised to learn that it's not always farming items, and I've said this before, but you'll often get more out of taking early kills that snowball into objectives. By building early fighting items, you're really giving yourself more space, time, and security when you farm for the late game. But now that you've left the lane, made some rotations, and are hopefully ahead, it's time to enter. With every stage of the game, the first step is to reevaluate your plan. You survived the laning stage, made some items, and now it's time to see if your role has changed. Are you ahead? Does this let you fight better, push easier, take objectives, roche? For the mid-game, you want to build whatever items get you an advantage in map control. If you're ahead and items are coming online faster, try putting pressure on the map with early BKBs, halberds, pipes, desos, or kayas. If your goal is to take team fights, try building items that make dangerous heroes a non-factor. Mantas, diffusal blades, Lincolns, and Lotus give added security when approaching mid-game fights. If you find yourself unable to take full 5v5 fights because maybe the enemy has Roche, you're not as ahead as you'd like to be, try splitting up the map with your spells and then look to take solo pickoffs or wait out the enemy timer. Sometimes with itemization, it's better to have no items coming online than to lose net worth trying to take fights you know you can't win. But if you really want to take fights, your number one ally is always Smoke of Deceit. I mentioned this before, but it's worth saying again. Use smoke. I can't tell you how many games I've lost because I never went for a pickoff on an enemy core, or I never utilized a timing because I didn't smoke. That being said, sometimes you do want to just chill and farm up without fighting at all. As a support or carry, sometimes it's better to buy items like wards or manta to help you farm safer and faster. But if you're looking to fight, it's all important to ask yourself, what do I need to win a fight? Does the enemy have strong disables? You might need BKB. Does your team lack initiation? Time for that position 5 Crystal Maiden to get a Blink Dagger. Whoa, wow. We have no lockdown. Looks like we really need a Diffusal, Abyssal Blade, Sheep Stick before we can take a fight. Whatever item you need, that's fine. Just make sure you and your team are on the same page. Hey guys, please don't fight yet. I need Diffusal Blade first.
Nah, fam squad, we going right now, boys, lol.
Now you need to ask yourself, what are my items doing during downtime? You may really want to Hex on Juggernaut to fight, but it's not that good if it's not helping you farm faster. Try looking for other sources of lockdown. Good stat items like Manta, Diffusal Blade, Sage and Yasha are prime examples. Other good farming tools are items that give you regen like Lotus, Lincolns, Yules, or Solar Crest. The perfect item for your hero lets you fulfill your role as a carry, support, damage dealer, space maker, team fighter, or whatever, but also lets you farm during your downtime, or at least secure farm for your allies. This extra farm allows you to gain net worth faster, which transitions into even more items that allows you to fight and farm better. Finally, ask yourself if you need these items to end the game, or you need to get bigger items to prepare for the late game. If you just need mid-game items to end the game, it's best to stock up on 4 or 5 mid-range priced items that give you a strong power spike for about 5 minutes. But if you need to win in the late game, then try to keep your mid-game items to around 2 to 4. You'll want to keep your inventory clean for the amount of net worth, hopefully, pouring into your wallet within the next 20 minutes. If you need to survive the mid-game and the late game, go for items that build into late game items like Vanguard into Abyssal or Crimson Guard, Shadow Blade into Silver's Edge, or Orchid into Bloodthorn. Usually a healthy mix of both strong mid-game items and items that upgrade give your lineup versatility when it comes to planning the game and actually executing the plans, so if something goes wrong, it's not an instant GG. But you've got your items, made some space, and hopefully haven't thrown, so it's time to enter. The late game is tricky. Sometimes it's 45 minutes in and you're fully farmed, your Crystal Maiden hits harder than the enemy Ursa, and you're ready to siege high ground. Other times it's 3 hours in and you've almost finished Meteor Hammer. Whatever your situation, it's best to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, so the first late game question to ask yourself is, what does my hero look like fully farmed? The longer the game goes and the more items start to pour in, the more heroes look the same. So ask yourself what exactly your hero needs to fulfill his weak spots and accentuate his strengths. Oh wow, look, our carry needs to live. I'ma build Lotus form. Cool, we got enough lockdown. Let's just finish it off with some damage, like a MKB or Butterfly. We interrupt this guide for a paid political advertisement. Hey there, champ. Are you a carry, mid, support, offlaner, literally any hero in Dota 2? Why not try BKB? It's great. It'll keep you safe from all those monsters and creatures on the enemy team for the low price of something. I really don't know. Please just buy. I promise it's good. Like, please just buy it. It's a BKB. It's a B10 second spell. It's actually insane. Brought to you by the Shopkeeper Organization of America, not formally associated with the Shopkeeper or America. Oftentimes, there is just one weak spot that the enemy is abusing, which forces you into a bad position. Sometimes you can't take high ground because you have no pickoff or pushing powers. Sometimes you don't have the ability to survive their team fight or stop a death ball. If you can't take high ground, classic items to counter this problem are AC, Shivas, Deso, Lotus, Atos, Blink, Wards, and Aegis. If you can't survive, try Abyssal Blade, Crimson Guard, Yules, whatever it takes to survive a combo, turn a fight, shove out waves, and win the game. After you've thought about what you need to fill your weakness and survive it, it's time to think about utilizing your hero. What does your hero do with items or levels, and how can you abuse it? Some great examples are Anti-Mage's ability to shove out waves and take 4-on-5 fights, Bane has a strong BKB piercing ult that can shut down any carry, Shadow Shaman can push good, Troll can shut down any hero, Medusa, whatever your hero does best, you can build to abuse her natural strength. Butterfly on Luna, Dagon on Tinker, Ags on Shadow Shaman, always be thinking about abusing what your hero does best, and how it does what it does. Do you need to be up front, in the back lines, initiation, counter initiation? Your item choice will differ depending on what you need. You might need Heart instead of Abyssal, Octarine instead of Shivas. Most stuff is situational, so in the late game, one of the most important questions you have to ask yourself is, am I playing Dota, or am I playing in Jelly? Does it feel good playing right now, or does it feel like the enemy is controlling me and I'm just a puppet bending to their will? Specifically though, there are two things you need to consider on most heroes. The first is Refresher. Who do you buy this on? Well, really any spellcaster that's already got their items and can afford one. And while everyone sees it as a great late game pickup for Tide, Enigma, Invoker, or even Alchemist, it's often overlooked on heroes like Bane, Spectre, and Batrider. My advice is to build Refresher if you got a team fighting spell, don't need other items first, and most importantly, have buyback. This is the second thing we must consider when talking about the late game, because so many games end because dead heroes don't defend buildings. Whenever you build an item, make sure you have buyback before you do so. Very rarely will pros ever forego buyback for an item, as it's usually a last attempt when they're so desperate to salvage a game or they're already ridiculously far ahead. 99.999% of the time, it's better to have buyback over an item, because no item besides Aegis gives you 2 lives. This is game altering and is probably the most important late game item decision to make. Oh, and build more rapiers. That stuff's hilarious. But that is all from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this vid, make sure to subscribe for more videos in the future. Or if you want more guides right now, check out How to Come Back, a guide all about coming back and winning games, or Roaming Improved, the perfect guide to learn effective roaming. But thank you guys for watching, and make sure to leave a like, and I will see you later. Bye.